We might have just lost the worst series all year.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. You're free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We got to talk more about Monopoly Go. This fast-paced game lets you team up with your friends for tournaments to unlock amazing prizes, unique stickers for trading, cool playing pieces, and hilarious emojis for taunting your friends. So download Monopoly Go, now free on the Google Play or the App Store. Game on. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter, Braden Fabiwasco, Carter First Two, as well on TikTok, Instagram, at Locked On Blue Jays. Drop a subscription here on YouTube. It really helps us out. You guys have been killing it with the YouTube Shorts as well. Sort of just with everything, even just listening on every other podcast platform there is. It's been great. We have a lot to get into, to say the least. It was shocking this weekend. I think it was ups and downs, highs and lows. I was all over the place. Carter, I sort of just want to start with your just overall feelings on the weekend, because I put out a TikTok. I think that was Saturday. And I was just losing my mind. I was sitting in my car just losing my mind because I didn't want to scream inside of our house, but I was getting a little bit fired up. How about yourself?
Easily, for me, the worst series of the year. It doesn't even come close. We lose to the worst pitcher statistically in baseball. And then today or yesterday, we blow a 6-1 lead to a bottom 10 offense. The only thing I have to say is pain, and this team is horrible.
Yeah, Carter, just painful. It was honestly just painful. People are going to look at the statistics of this weekend's games, and they're not going to, I don't think, realize how bad it was. I went back and I had to do a double take because I'm like, you know what? It didn't feel like we were playing that well. The Toronto Blue Jays didn't seem like they were really, the hits might have looked okay, and the runs, there was more runs scored than usual, but it didn't feel like it. You know what I mean? And so I went back and I did a little bit of digging. Only 8 of our 17 runs were actually earned runs. There were a ton of errors, a ton of misplays by the Nationals, and it showed. I think, I don't know if I'm the only one that came away with this feeling of it didn't feel like legitimate runs half the time or great games because the runs weren't earned. And at the end of the day, we can't bank on other teams making errors and making terrible decisions with the baseball for us to score runs.
I mean, that's 7 errors in 2 games. And the Jays, they do get runs, but like you said, they're not earned. They weren't getting hits. They weren't stringing together hits, especially in that second game, as we'll get into. The Nationals pretty much gave us 4 runs in that game. It was absolutely ridiculous. One of the worst defensive performances I've ever seen. And they almost found a way to blow that game as well. It was kind of a flip this series, though. Usually we had some good pitching and our starters were pretty good, other than obviously the Sunday. But it was a little bit of a flip with the bullpen. The bullpen this weekend was absolutely terrible. It seemed like every single time, no matter who you threw in, they weren't being effective. They were giving up hit after hit after hit, not getting out of innings, not locating pitches, and it was costing the Blue Jays as they were giving up multiple leads in this series to an offense that is not very good whatsoever. This offense scored 23 runs against us in 3 games. A bottom 10 offense doing that to you. Imagine what's going to happen when we go to the Yankees again, when we play the Baltimore Orioles, who are looking crazy right now. We're going to allow a million runs, and we're not going to score any either from the looks of it with these earned runs. And Washington Nationals pitching staff this weekend was really bad. So everyone they rolled out, minus Mackenzie Gore, but he did not have his stuff on Sunday. Patrick Corbin, as we've said, the worst statistic pitcher in the league. He was leading the league in a stat you don't want to lead the league in, and that was ERA. He had the highest ERA out of all qualified pitchers. And what do the Blue Jays do? They let him go 6 innings and provide a quality start. I have a Patrick Corbin stat I got from the broadcast. It's absolutely insane. I don't even want to say it, but I think it has to be said. So no pitcher has lost more decisions. The decision being wins, loss, no decision. Just ends the results of the game. No pitcher has lost more decisions over a 3-year span in the last 40 years than Patrick Corbin. What that stat means is he's not giving his team a chance to win. And what did he do against the Toronto Blue Jays? He had a horrible first inning, and the Blue Jays just completely let up. I guess they thought 3 runs was enough. I don't know what the thought process was there, but just a terrible showing against the worst pitcher in the league.
Well, and Carter, that's sort of what we've seen all season is they might come out of the gates hot in some of these games, and we think, holy, this might be the game where they sort of get out of the funk, and they might score 2 or 3 runs like right off the bat in the first 2 innings, and then you're thinking, okay, we're back, let's go, come on now, and then they don't score another run for the entirety of the game, and it's frustrating because I think it's just the letting off the gas. They think that we're gonna win games 3-1. And that's just not the case. You're in the majors. You're in the big leagues. This doesn't happen. You got to continue to press. That's how you win baseball games. They're not doing that, Carter. You know what? I sort of want to start with this Sunday game because that's most fresh in the memory. We got to talk about, probably what everybody's thinking is Alek Manoah. And off the start, I was sort of, I don't want to say impressed, but I was a little taken back. I'm like, okay, he looks all right. I'm not gonna, make any decisions too quickly. And then as soon as he kept going, like they probably could have pulled him after 3 and he would have been okay. His confidence level would have been high. The team would have been looking better, but no, we let him go 4 and he gets absolutely annihilated by this Nationals lineup, which is sad to say at the least. So at the end of the day, he goes 4 innings, 6 hits, 7 runs, only 6 earned. Woo. 6 strikeouts, 4 walks, 2 home runs against. And I mean, it was a command problem, Carter. He was leaving a ton of sliders over the plate, and then he'd miss. You'd think, okay, keep the slider out of the zone, throw the fastball in the zone. He'd leave the slider hanging, or it would be 10 feet outside of the zone that nobody's swinging a pitch at. Just overall from Manoah, I think it's what me and you honestly expected was going to happen. There was no way he was going to come in this game and be prime Alek Manoah back to where we want him to be.
Well, and I get this situation that the Blue Jays were in. A month ago, we were in a great situation with starting depth. We had Wes Parsons, who's not a great pitcher, but he can go innings. Ricky Tiedemann, obviously hurt right now. Bowden Francis, Yariel Rodriguez, Mitch White DFA'd. We had a ton of options, and now all of a sudden, we're kind of just left with Alek Manoah. So again, with a rotation that is depleted and a bullpen that's depleted, it's kind of seemed like the Jays were left with no choice. But saying that, Alek Manoah was clearly not ready to pitch in the major leagues. The fact that people were getting behind this guy, they're saying, oh, Alek Manoah's back, he's back. He had one good start, albeit a great start, 12 punchies. I'll take that any day of the week. But a 6.5 ERA in the minor leagues, how is that supposed to translate to the majors? The AAA is like notorious for having terrible hitters. It's pretty much the MLB ready or the MLB caliber players defensively, but they're not in the MLB due to their hitting. All the better hitters, all the prospects are in AA, getting more at-bats. That's where you find your better hitters. And the fact that Alek Manoah is struggling against some of these old veterans, the 35-year-olds that are on these AAA rosters, is absolutely insane to me. So just going into his stats today, in the first inning, he looked okay, and then Bo Bichette makes that error. Not going to help him out. Bo Bichette can't make that error at that time with a pitcher that is really struggling to find confidence. You don't want it to be rocky for him off the start, but then the command just started going out of whack right after that. He had 2 walks that inning, and like you said, the slider was either directly over the middle or it wasn't even close. Alek Manoah had no close strikes or balls. Everything was either dead down the middle or a foot outside, inside, high, low. So that's not going to work out. You need to have productive pitches, competitive pitches. You can't just be throwing a waste pitch on a 1-2 count that the hitter isn't even going to offer at. In the second inning, I'll give Alek Manoah credit there. He looked great in the second inning, but then Garcia hits a bomb off of him in the third, and then obviously the fourth inning. Absolutely terrible. Classic Alek Manoah. No command. I don't understand why they threw him back into this fire when you knew that it was going to be a problem based off his AAA stats. Again, the bullpen's depleted. Tough situation. I would have been more comfortable with Paulo Espino. I know he hasn't been good, but that saves Alek Manoah's confidence. You can have him eat innings. And again, maybe we're thinking a little bit differently of this Jays situation because you have Paulo Espino, maybe a throwaway game in a sense. But the way the Blue Jays are playing, it seems like a lot of these games are throwaway games.
Yeah, and of course, I don't want to. I mean, we've covered the Alek Manoah stuff constantly. I mean, there's only so much we can say. We've given our opinions. We pretty much called what was going to happen today. You could have seen it coming a mile away. I don't want to stick around just on that. There's so much more to get into. The one thing before we maybe hit a break here, Carter, uh, Vlad Guerrero Jr. Grand Slam today. That gives everybody something to be excited about. My only issue with this is yes, great. Hopefully it gets him off the schneid. Hopefully he can get back to it. He's in a 2-0 count. Bases juiced. George Springer just struck out. And you're in a 2-0 count and you get a fastball middle, and you take that pitch. Why is that not a pitch you're sitting on?
Why
don't
scared to hit
understand.
fastballs this year? He's not hitting them well. He's been killing breaking pitches, which obviously you see in the next pitch. So you can't really be mad at Vladdy
No.
when he takes a middle fastball, but then absolutely launches a changeup. But again, yeah, he hasn't been good against fastballs all year. It is nice to see Vladdy kind of picking it up a little bit. Because
Yeah.
with your top three guys, George Springer is absolutely laughable at the plate. John Schneider is turning George Springer into my most hated player. And it is George Springer's fault for his production. But why is this guy leading off? Absolutely insane. You have Davis Schneider should be leading off. I don't think that's not even a discussion anymore. The at-bats that guy's having is insane. In that game, the Alek Manoah start, he was 2 for 3 with 2 walks, had a double. He's stealing bases now, too. He's doing everything out there. Why not have this guy lead off? But no, you leave George Springer. You do get a lineup change moving Bo to 4. You can probably move Bo down to 7 the way he's hitting it. Again, I think Bo Bichette is looking a little bit better than George Springer. I liked his at-bats a little bit more today. He was lining out a lot. He's hitting the ball hard at least, but George Springer just absolutely useless. But before we do head into one more break here, I did want to bring up Alek Manoah one last time. I was seeing people in the comment sections on multiple fan accounts, the Blue Jays account, saying, Alek Manoah was fine today. There's nothing to be worried about. How are you saying that 6 earned runs and 5 walks over 4 innings pitched is fine for Alek Manoah? That absolutely blew my mind. It took everything in me not to go in on some of these people because I don't know if they were watching the same baseball games I watched.
Carter, you know what I honestly believe, and me and you've had this conversation, is people have their head in the sand a little bit. And I don't know if there's a better way to put that. I fully believe it's just people not looking at this team this year or in the past 2 years. I saw some conversations about, George Springer, Manoah, and I'm thinking, are these people living in 2020, 2021 right now? Like, is that what, like, are people rewatching old games? Because there's no way that you look at these guys now over the past season and a half and think that these guys are doing anything good. It's not happening. We got a lot of comments and probably I'll address some of them going forward in this video just because there's some takes that I just don't agree with. A bunch on the Ross Atkins video, a bunch on the John Schneider video that we've done. That I want to bring up, Carter. I think I'm going to start next segment with that. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we're going to get into it. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changes or which accounts you should prioritize, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. I'm a huge LinkedIn guy. It's actually partly how I got my current job. It's fantastic. It gets everything done. Right now, you could try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That is linkedin.com/lockedon for a 60-day free trial. Get LinkedIn Sales Navigator, help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon to get started. Today's episode is also brought to you by Monopoly Go. We got to pause because I know we've talked about Monopoly Go a ton. I know you're saying, Don't you guys talk about this enough? In Monopoly Go, you can team up with your friends for time tournaments where you can get together to build up each other's boards. And I know I love this game. I always talk about it, that all my friends are playing it. Carter's playing it. I had to throw that in, Carter. And then, of course, all the Locked On people are playing it as well. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock, and there's so much to get. Unique stickers you could trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes, cool new playing pieces to travel the boards, hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games, and there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go, so get off the bench and go download it now free on the Google Play or the App Store. Game on. So, Carter, just before we sort of continue here, I want to address some stuff that we've gotten some comments over. A lot of you guys seem to be on the same page, know where we're coming from in the sense of John Schneider. The lineup needing to be changed. Our superstars needing to be superstars, and Ross Atkins not doing his job over the past 8 seasons. But then we also got some that have been saying that Ross Atkins isn't the problem, John Schneider isn't the problem, blah blah blah. It's all on the superstars, which to an extent we've covered, Carter, right? We've said that the big three need to start playing like the big three. Vlad's picked it up. The other two have looked just horrible. But something I want to address is Ross Atkins has had 8 seasons, and I don't want to keep harping on this. It's not just a Ross Atkins problem. It is a combination of bad things to come. Ross Atkins is terrible. John Schneider has been horrible. So this season, last year, I mean, you sort of give him a little bit of leeway trying to figure everything out. And then to top it all off, your superstars aren't being your superstars. Me and you had a big conversation. Maybe we'll get deeper into this next episode. A lot of comments, a lot of good feedback from you guys over the past few episodes. You guys have been killing it.
Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing going right with this team right now. It seems like this series, the offense sort of cooked, I guess you could say. But again, you kind of debunked that with the earned run stat. But then you have the pitching, not necessarily the starting pitching minus Alek Manoah, but the bullpen that has been very consistent all year, absolutely blowing up. But saying that, I think we should get into the first game. Definitely going to get into the bullpen about that first game because that is the exact reason why we lost that game. But start off, I guess, one of the only positives of the game, and it's our king, one of the best pitchers on the Toronto Blue Jays, one of my favorite players on the Toronto Blue Jays, and I hope he's yours too, Yusei Kikuchi. Oh my God. What a resurgence from this guy. 2 years ago, one of the worst pitchers in the league. Did not feel comfortable about him starting whatsoever. And now this guy is doing a little strut off the mound every single time he strikes somebody out. Yusei Kikuchi's stat line: 6 innings pitched, 6 hits given up, 1 earned run, 7 punchies, 1 walk. His ERA now is 2.72. This guy's ridiculous, man. So fun to watch. The energy, the emotion he pitches with. Awesome, easy guy to get behind. Braden, what'd you see from Yusei Kikuchi?
He's as good as he's been. I mean, we're seeing prime time Yusei Kikuchi all the time, every time he hits the mound. And that's why I say he's one of the most fun pitchers to watch. I always try to tune in. If I have something else going on, I'll always try to at least have the Jays game on my phone because Yusei Kikuchi is just the most fun pitcher to watch. Now, saying that, we bring in another one of our favorite guys last season in Eric Swanson, and oh my goodness, it is not going well. And I want to preface this. This guy's had a very tough year, right? And I think a mental part of this game has to be looked at because the guy, of course, his son was involved in the accident. Very scary time for their whole family. And you can't take anything away from that. That's going to mess with anybody mentally. But then not just to come back, he comes back and gets injured and then starts the season late. And there's a lot that happened for him. So I think he's a guy that will bounce back. It's just sort of getting out of these mental ruts. And thank God his son is okay. Everything's fine. He's fine health-wise. I think he just needs some time to get back to it. But a very, very poor game. He doesn't even get 1 out, giving up 2 hits, 3 runs, also a walk and a home run as well. And it was just bad. It was horrible. And then, of course, Tim Mesa comes in for, again, he got 1 out, gave up a run, allowed 2 hits. And then to top it all off, Cabrera was horrible as well. He gave up 4 runs as well. I mean, 0 earned on that one, but still gives up 4 runs. It was an absolute collapse, to say the least, Carter, from the bullpen.
Terrible. Like with Eric Swanson, yes, he has had a really tough start to the season, and I think he will bounce back. But saying that, he is a professional baseball player. He is getting paid the big bucks. So unfortunately, I do have to go over his stats so far this season. ERA 16.5. So he went 1 inning in the third game, gave up a moonshot to Eddie Rosario, hitting .91, by the way. That actually brought his ERA down somehow. So he was an 18 ERA, and now he's a 16.5. So that's how Eric Swanson's season has gone. The worst pitcher in our bullpen so far this season. Again, you got to give him a little bit of a break here with how good he was last year, the tough start to the season. But again, John Schneider, I'm more so blaming this on John Schneider than I am Eric Swanson. And it's just John Schneider watching the baseball games. You can tell that Eric Swanson is not himself. He's not pitching well, and you're still throwing him high leverage. It doesn't make sense at all. It's the same thing with the batting order. You see George Springer struggling so heavily, and you don't do anything about it. So at this point, I'm starting to think, does John Schneider even do anything? Is he just like, at the start of the year, he's like, okay, game 76, that's the lineup no matter what happens. It's almost what it's seeming like. So again, Eric Swanson needs to be better. But John Schneider, you got to recognize that this guy isn't having his stuff. Tim Meza doesn't really have an excuse. He's just been bad, simply.
Yeah.
Again, you get 1 out. That's never going to play. With Henry Cabrera, he hasn't been good this year. But again, for tomorrow's episode, I'm going to do a deep dive into this. I feel like he gives up a million unearned runs. I feel like he gets screwed over so often by this Blue Jays team. And just looking at this game, IKF, who's one of the best defenders on the team, launches a ball into the seats. Like, when does this happen? Ernie Clement, a bobbled ball, extends the inning. That 7th inning it felt like it lasted 4 years, man. Like, he never got out of that inning. I'm glad it's over, but that game was probably the worst game of the season for me.
Yeah, it was bad. It just the whole game felt just off. And you know what? I mean, it comes down to the pitching. You give up a ton of runs. It obviously sort of takes the steam out of you. We said, right, one of the biggest components that I always say is when one part of the game doesn't do well, it completely kills the momentum for the other half of the ball game. So if the hitters aren't hitting, the pitchers are going to struggle. It's just going to happen because they think they have to be perfect.
Yeah,
and then when you're down a ton of runs, Carter, it's the opposite, right? The hitters feel like they have to do something big every at bat to now climb this deficit.
Yeah, and another problem was a perfect situation for this would have been Yimi Garcia. But unfortunately, he's day-to-day, some back spasms acting up again. Tough that he can't be in this lineup because he has been absolutely dealing a situation that would have been perfect for him. Probably would have stopped the bleeding. Maybe the Blue Jays have a chance. Maybe they don't. Maybe Yimi Garcia gets lit up as well. Again, it's all speculation, but I think Yimi Garcia definitely would have had a better chance in this situation than a couple of our other pitchers. Saying that, do you got anything else to add about game 1?
No, I mean, it was just bad. And again, I'm trying to be more positive because otherwise it's going to be negativity all the time here. So in saying that, I think let's get to a little bit of a positive and let's get to the win here, Carter. I think let's take a quick break and then let's get into the win.
We do that.
I know.
I want to throw it over to our Locked On 24/7 streaming channel. The NFL offseason, it's going off. I love following the NFL free agency. A bunch of cool stuff happening. OBJ going to Miami. I think that's cool. NHL playoffs. Thank God Dallas beat Vegas. I don't know if you guys agree with me. I don't know if you're hockey fans, but get Vegas out of the playoffs. I'm sick of seeing them. Perfect opportunity, 24/7 streaming channel on Locked On Sports Today or the Amazon Fire TV channels app, whatever is easier for you. Go to either one at any time of the day to get expert analysis. We're going to get to game 2 and some other things coming up. Let's get straight to the point. You want to grow your portfolio to deal with the rising cost of inflation, to pay off your debt or your mortgage, pretty much anything standing in the way of you and your financial freedom, right? With Yahoo Finance, you can get access to news, data, and tools that you need in order to help reach that financial freedom. For more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been the brand behind every great investor. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just looking for an extra guidance, Yahoo Finance gives you all the tools and data you need all in one place. For comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com. The number one financial destination, yahoofinance.com. That's yahoofinance.com.
Sorry, Carter, just going over some stats there. I sort of clicked that late on you. But no, let's get into well, the bright spot of the weekend, we'll call it. The bright spot. It was a win over the Nationals, of course, on Saturday, 6-3. I mean, Carter, again, I say a bright spot. Was it exactly what we wanted to see? No, but we got the job done. The boys were able to figure it out. Kevin Gosman, another great day from him. Honestly, we're in the prime time of Kevin Gosman right now. Looks like he's back to himself, and that's a huge thing, right? 5 1/3 innings, 3 hits given up, 8 punchies and 2 walks. Just a fantastic day. It was watching him pitch when he walks off the mound after an inning. It looks. I don't know if I'm ever more fired up than when Kevin Gosman throws the gum, walks off the mound. Probably the best moment of the weekend right there.
Yeah, it seemed like they were bleeding every single pitch that Kevin Gosman had out of him that game through 112 pitches. They seemed like they wanted him to go more, but obviously Kevin Gosman's arm was probably going to fall off. They continued to pitch him. I have to throw this ricochet shot out there. I'm sorry, but clearly Kevin Gosman can teach Eric Swanson something right now. Got to work on that splitter. Obviously, they do throw it different ways, joking around, but Kevin Gosman is just unbelievable. Again, I'm going to break down his stats as well in tomorrow's episode, but his first couple starts of the year weren't great. Coming off of an injury, who would have thought? You don't get a proper spring training, you don't do good right away in the regular season. Over the last 5 starts, this guy's been ridiculous. He was striking out people left and right. The Nationals weren't even touching him. But again, there's the positives, but again, there's obviously the negatives that came with this series. So I just want to go over the first inning the Toronto Blue Jays had. So they obviously got 4 runs, but in any other game with probably any other defense, they're not even getting one. So
No.
first at bat, George Springer, ground ball, safe on a throwing error. You get one there. Dalton Varsho, good at bat, gets a walk. Vladdy, this is the most typical Vladdy at bat I've ever seen. Smashes a ball into the ground. Should be a double play ball, but it gets overthrown. They get the out at 2. Vladdy is safe at 1. And then you get a Bo Bichette single, you get a Justin Turner single first. Then you get a Bo Bichette single, which loads the bases. And then everyone's favorite player, Vogelback. I'm finding out that people are not liking Daniel Vogelback, actually, which for me is kind of tough to see just looking at that guy's appearance. Tough for me not to like that guy. But saying that, on the baseball field, he has not been great. Again, tailor-made ground ball to the first baseman, and that guy absolutely launches it into right center or left center, it would have been. Absolutely insane. And then Jano doing Jano things, launches a double. So you get 3 hits. You also get 4 errors. Absolutely insane stuff from the Washington Nationals. And then you get 4 runs. I'm surprised the Blue Jays scored again. The typical Blue Jays ways, they get a bunch of runs early in the game, and then they don't see anything again. And then out of all people, coming back off the IL, Kevin Kiermaier launches a ball into right field for a 2-run bomb. Needed the insurance runs clearly. And a guy that I would have expected to in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, it was great for Kevin Kiermaier to hit that bomb. It was pretty electric. That was something I definitely wasn't expecting, to say the least. What does it do for me? Not much, to be honest. It is what it is. That's great for him, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much of this we can expect from him at the end of the day. The biggest thing of this game, what it comes down to, is the fact that the Blue Jays got 4 runs not earned, and it doesn't matter how good our pitching is when or what the stats look like. Like this weekend, like I said at the beginning of this episode, it felt very different. This did not feel like a game or a series that we scored a ton of runs, and we did. We scored a ton of runs, but it doesn't feel like that. It's a game that we feel like we snuck away with a win in game 2, and probably a series that we should have been swept in.
Yeah, it definitely felt like a sweep series. My main takeaway for game 2, honestly, is John Schneider finally changed the batting order. Again, kind of a weird construction. Put Dalton Varsho at 2. Again, a guy that's not really hitting for average, so I don't love that. But I mean, a guy that's been hitting well, and it's not Bo Bichette. So I got to be okay with that. I wish he would move George Springer. I don't know why. Like if he has some feelings for this guy, I don't know if they have like an agreement that he's not moving from one. There's got to be something going on though. Like I talk about it all the time, and it makes me so angry because this guy is getting the most at-bats on the team, and he's one of the worst hitters. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, logically, you want one of your better players to get the most at-bats. And again, I know I've been hyping up Davis Schneider a little bit on this podcast, but it's more than deserving. 3 for 6 weekend. I think he had 3 walks. Like, this is the guy that's getting on base. He's hitting like almost, I think, 280 now. Unbelievable at-bats. Again, you look at George Springer, you look at Davis Schneider. It does not take an Einstein to figure out who is the better hitter right now. So I've been going in on John Schneider, but all these people that watch the podcast, all the fans of Toronto Blue Jays are also going in on John Schneider, and it's all for very good reason. The fans that watch this game, the people that watch the Blue Jays every single day, you can see in 3 innings that it's very obvious George Springer should not be leading off. John Schneider continues to make more and more dumb decisions. And with every day, I'm losing more and more faith in John Schneider. I'm honestly at the point where I almost have no faith in John Schneider.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer we're going to continue to go and do the same things. I think you said it perfectly. I don't know when that was, a few episodes ago. It's like when you keep doing the same thing over and over again, it's the definition of insanity or whatever. And it says that. I mean, why do we not have Davis Schneider or Ernie Clement leading off? It makes no sense to me. You know what? Something else I just want to touch on, it just popped in my head here quick, was the fact that what were we doing in Sunday's game? So we pinch run Jano for Alejandro Kirk, which we have Kevin Kiermaier on the bench, a guy who's much quicker, better on the base paths, whatever. And then you can replace him with Jano after. Then we bunt with Ernie Clement as a squeeze opportunity, and Jano's double takes. The ball's in the air. It's understandable, but I think you could see that that's getting down. He stumbles. I don't know what it was. It was a slide attempt, I want to say. He makes it 2 feet, and he doesn't, obviously not across home plate. Tries to do like a little scoot and boogie to the dish and doesn't make it. Oh my goodness. It was one of the most frustrating scenes to watch. It was terrible.
I mean, I love Jano, but I don't know why he's pinch running in that situation. Does John Schneider think that it has to be the same position for a pinch runner? Because you have Kevin Kiermaier, who's probably the best base runner on this team, and you decide to go with Danny Jansen. And you can't tell me, again, Danny Jansen, it's a tough read on that first hit that gets through the third base hole. You can't tell me Kevin Kiermaier is not getting to third base there, or getting home, sorry, because Danny's in advance. But again, and then you have that play on the bunt. Again, Ernie Clement, for one, he shouldn't even be bunting. He's a contact hitter. He's probably going to put the ball in play. Again, you probably get Jansen home on a ground ball. Doesn't make sense there. But then Kevin Kiermaier, even if he doesn't read that perfectly like Danny Jansen, he's just quicker. He's gonna get there quicker. And he's a veteran. He's one of the best base runners on the team. I think he reads that a lot better than Jano. I think he provides a better slide than Jano. I'll give Jano a little bit of a break on that one, but that was pathetic, Jano. Come on, you got to be better than that.
That's like a slide you'd see in slow pitch for a guy who, like, it's the playoffs in slow pitch, and the guy hasn't like slid in 40 years, and he face plants and eats dirt. That's exactly what that was. It's horrible.
Oh, it was just absolute scenes from Jano there, and I like it. We did a little bit of a dolphin dive after it, and like he's already just out in the water too, not even close. He does give a little bit of extra effort. And you actually reminded me of one thing. Don't know how this reminded me of this, but okay. I love Justin Turner. Keep him in the lineup, but don't put him at third base. I'm like, in this second game, he threw 2 balls up the line of Vladdy, and Vladdy made a swipe tag. But again, we saw this. Again, this was like a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago at this point. But Justin Turner launched the ball in the left center. He's 39. Let him DH. You have Ernie Clement. You have IKF. Pretty much anyone else. I'm sick of seeing Justin Turner in the field. I don't know why John Schneider keeps trying this.
Well, and why? He's one of our best hitters on the team. Let him do what he's doing. Let him focus on hitting. He's doing it well. Don't mess with a good thing here.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Apparently, John Schneider does the opposite, and he doesn't want to mess with a bad thing the way he's making decisions here. But Braden, you got anything else to add about this series? I'm kind of at my wit's end with this team. All I want to say is it can't get worse, right? There's no way it can get worse, right?
I want to give you a clear answer of no, but I always feel like we could be the White Sox.
I mean, I don't even want to, if you have to have the Jays in the same conversation as the White Sox, That's just absolutely insane to me. I mean, that's 4 straight series losses for us here. We got the Phillies, who are looking unbelievable for a Tuesday, Wednesday 2-game set. We'll get into that more for the next episode. I just wanted to say thank you guys for watching. We are going to Toronto May 17th to the 20th. Again, hopefully the Blue Jays are playing better baseball by that point, or else I'm going to have a mental breakdown live instead of in my basement. But we'll see what happens. Thank you guys for watching, the support, everything, comments, likes. The debates we're having in our comment sections are always fun for me. I know Braden enjoys them as well. Before we do head out, I want to throw it over to our Locked On 24/7 streaming channel one more time. Amazon Fire TV channels app or the Locked On Sports Today channel. 24/7 sports. What more could you want? Perfect opportunity to get some expert analysis. Braden, tough series. We got to move on. It's going to be tough to move on because we got an off day tomorrow. Mental health day. They're giving us a lot apparently in the next couple of weeks. Got one on Thursday as well. You got anything else to add about this series?
No. I mean, a lot, but no. I don't
It's
know.
over, I guess.
It's done. It's done. Leave it in the past. We got to move on. This team is showing signs of
I don't even know
glimmer.
if you could say that.
I don't know. They just move George Springer. Let's get out of here. Let's just try to figure some stuff out. I don't know. John, help me, please. Please just give me something to look forward to. I'm looking forward to Toronto, but I don't want to go there, watch them get the crap beat out of them, and then have to go drink my sorrows away wherever we can find to go.